something about Bill.
Well, Bill, he found this rush, old Bill. He was a South African, the Boer. He was a funny old, he was an old man when he come here, but different place, he got a lot over, although he was old, you know, he knew where to go and find it.
Can you give us the date that he started?
No, that
roughly?
was in Depression, he was here, I remember.
Depression.
Yeah. No, wait a bit now, it'd be, yeah, around about 28 and 9, I think, when he was here. Yeah. And, of course, he wasn't the only one, all the side that was mostly seen, but down along the fence here and through the fence there was a bit of knobby and seam mix, and good opal. But I think this here we're in front of us, this was about the best seam claim here. Williams had a claim on the other side. They got a lot of light opal over there. That old Boer under that big box tree, that's where he got the big stone.
Is it a single level?
No, it was just the one level. I think it was about 20 odd feet either the level.
Right.
But it was a big stone. I think it was over 2.5 inches long or something, the big stone he got over there. But I think it's a lot, that natural jointed seam too, you know, big stuff.
Tell us about Bill himself. Do you know?
Well,
remember?
He was a funny old man. He used to get on the grog a lot, you know. He's sort of helpless. And he used to ride a bike, and Bill would come uptown, and he'd one of the old straight backs. He'd be riding along, and saying, "Hey, Bill!" And he'd stop dead off the bike. He'd fall. Well, that'd be the young louts. We were young then, singing out to him. But the greatest thing that ever happened to him, poor old Bill, he's pushing the bike along, and he decided that he wanted to have a wet at, but he did at the Tree of Knowledge, and the policeman Cox was here. Then he walked up behind him. "What are you doing here, Bill?" He said, "I'm having a bloody pee." Well, he said, "It'll cost you £2.8. He took and locked poor old Bill up. And it did cost him £2.8. But it didn't worry Bill. He had £1 at the time, and he was getting a pension.
Doing all right. And what became of him?
Oh, I think they took him away and he died, you know, like all of them. The old timers, they went to hospital and never heard of him again.
Never heard of him again.
No. Either went below, or if they had any money, they sent him below, and if they had no dough, they sent him to Walgett to die. And that's what happened with all the old
When you
lads.
say they send them below, you mean they send them to Sydney?
Yeah, well, I mean, if they had any money, that's the way of getting, you know, getting rid of them quick down there.
I see.
But the Williams brothers, they had a good claim over the other side. And I can't think about this claim here. This was one of the best. There's a lot of dirt under this claim here too. You get stowed dirt. Old Jack Reynolds was in it for 2.5 years. Well, he got a reared a family, you can say. They used to come and pull the dirt, and when they cut it, he'd stow it all back again, see, right to the roof. But I got down here through the fence. We got a bit of opal over there.
Just on the other side.
Yeah, well, that's well down. Well, look at all the spare country is here, see?
Right.
And further over here is where the big mussel shells, 6-inch mussel shells over there, all coated with red.
Opalised?
Yeah, on top.
Mm.
And they were, Albert Dominic found them, and he tipped them all under the tree there. Dinner camp, we used to all have dinner there in them days, you know, riding bikes up here. And they eventually went off. They used to cut them up looking for nobbies, and well, you'd never have thought of them, you know, saving them.
Valuable as a fossil.
You'd get a lot of money from them. But they were 6 inches like that, you know, them big fellas. Red streaks all over the top. That's pure mud. All inside was pure dirt, you know what I mean, hard clay. But they were the shape there, and the eye on the top and everything, and red colour streaks all over.
That's incredible. These Williams brothers you were talking about, do you know any more about them?
No, they used to come back here a bit. That's what we say over here at the Chum. They used to camp over there. And they were notorious men. I mean,
what do you mean notorious?
Well, they'd come and drunk and they'd fight.
But amongst each other? Or
brothers, yeah,
or
3
fight
brothers.
anyone?
Yeah, well, one of them was Australia's heavyweight champion years ago. Chewy
Were
Williams.
they the ones you told me that used to rough up the pub?
Yeah, well, they were some of them, yeah, him and the Nolan and the Gales.
Did they do all right on opal?
Oh, they got opal in the old days, yes. Like everyone else, they'd get a bit here and away they'd go again.
Yes. A bit like the shearers.
Sure, yeah. Well, a lot of shearers lived here, see. They'd come back here after shearing was finished, and this is where they'd get a few bob to keep going, tucker money, see.
Right.
If they had a mate, they'd go away and earn money and then leave him there to keep going the claim. Because he might get a quid while they're away them days too. Well, a lot of them done it. And of course a lot of them lived in Angledale too in the old days.
In Angledale?
And they used to come across here. Well, everyone lived in Angledale.
Is that right?
Mm.
Well, Angledale must have been quite a bustling community.
It was a big place, yes. 3 pubs there, and population I suppose 500 to 600. They tell me that one part of there were 700 Chinamen. They ring barkers, them stations had them cheap labour, see?
Yeah.
And there was a mission there, about 400 or 500 in the mission, blacks.
What
And
became of them, do you know?
well, they all shifted, they closed the pubs and all that after them.
Or did they just moved away from
Well, I
the
mean,
area?
when the closer settlements, see, Angledale used to own to here, 32 miles from here, see?
Yeah.
Right down all this country, 32 miles. Well, they had a lot of people working for them days, and Angledale sort of was on the border town, and it was a big town, and they employed about 60 to 80 men on the station, and that's another 60 to 80 during shearing, see? And that's how it went them days. Since this closer settlement comes in, well, the people's all left the back country.
Well, okay, we might move on. Now we're going to look at a bit of recent history, Herb. This is New Potch Point.
That's right, yeah.
Now opened about 3 years ago, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, years ago, you know, when we would walk around here, there was an old hole over there where that green truck is, and it had a big white vertical going down there, and different ones noticed that, and you could pick up little fine colour. But if you walked on this ridge today, you'd say, well, it'd have to be 60 feet deep for at least, wouldn't you?
Mm.
At least. Well, that's what turned everyone against the ridge, like this big ridge here. And it turns out then the levels come up like that, and it was only 20 feet. If anyone had sunk hole, they'd have got a opal from there to there, from here up, all opal. God knows how many millions come out of it, nobody knows.
And it actually runs in a straight line.
Yeah, well, I mean, that strip comes from split off there, the old workings there. There was a break, and it made down there to about 3 or 4 claims, and down here.
I understand they call it Millionaires Row.
That's what I'd reckon it'd be.
Some of the big operators
There's
working
no
here.
doubt about it, there was a lot of opal. And it only finished up 20-foot ground, but in here, where this chap is, it went down like that, down to the 30-odd feet. And
What do you mean like that?
Well, it come off the top level and down like something like this over
curve.
the corners.
Yeah.
And when it spread out, there was a big patch there.
Tell us, do you know much about these machines they've got there?
Well, they call them blowers, don't they? Well, this is Jeff, see, my son here. That's he's in a part of Doug's country, the old ground. And that's Doug's there, but they're the business all right. There was a cove over here, young Smithy, the other day, sucked his boots in, he had them, sucked his boot off and put it up on top. So there's a bit of strength in them, aren't they?
How long have they been using blowers?
Oh, only this last 8 to 10 years, not
8 to
that.
10 years. They're pretty expensive to run, I
About
understand.
12 to, well, I mean, and to buy too, about 12 to 15 grand.
Yeah.
But if anyone, you know what I mean, got the money there, the gear all right.
Once you get onto opal, I guess.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
these fellas that got all the money here.
Yeah. You've seen some of the opal that's
Yeah.
been taken out.
Well, I mean, it's like all fields. There's some of the best and some of the worst. A lot of grey rubbish over here would make you sick to look at it, but still saleable. We'd call it after seeing all that beautiful black stuff they got here. And they didn't only get it, you know, one little pocket, but they got pocket after pocket here right on top of this ridge. They've been working here for 2 years on opal, most.
Even with these big machines, they're still taking
hardly
it
a
out.
week or, and they're still here knocking it out.
How would this site compare with some of the others in sort of, what about the early ones we saw this morning? Would it,
Well, I mean, for deep country, well, I mean, this is not deep, this is shallow. I think this has outstripped a lot of them, you know.
really?
Of course, they peg big claims now, that's the trouble. In the old days, we only had a little claim, and
What was the size of your claim in those days?
33 feet.
Yeah, it's 50...
Three
sorry,
each way, yeah.
50 metres now, isn't it?
Yeah, nearly twice as big.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they made a mistake too, letting big claims. Because in the old days, see, if they'd had the gear, well, if they had big claims, they'd have worked in 10 years. Pick and shovel,
That's right.
would they? If they'd
When
got,
did the 100-foot by 100-foot claims come in, Herb?
oh, about what would it be, about 4 or 5 years ago?
No, that was the meters.
Yeah.
Oh, that was in the first good old days.
Yeah.
That was 100 feet square, they called it.
Well, I was talking to one of the young miners around here, and he was telling me how that when this area opened up, everyone, of course, pegged around it, And the amazing thing was that it was in this straight line and they went axially, so some people made a fortune and others just...
That's right, down
got
around
nothing.
here, nothing.
Yeah,
The Canadians finished here where the Canadians were,
yeah.
and up there at that end you'd reckon it'd run that end down to the other old chum where we've been.
Mm.
But they got a bit of money down there, not much, but up here was the big patches,
Mm.
right on top of the ridge, which we walked over and sat on that hole over there a million
In
times.
the old days. that's
Yeah, some
the
of them old
sort of
fellas-
story, isn't it?
Some of them old fellas woke up now and had a look and said what fools they were. It'd be no good now. of
They
course.
want to know. They want to know, were they?
No. She's
Okay.
a funny thing, this oval, I'll tell you. You don't know where it is. But some of them made a fortune here. They'll never look back again.
One chap told me that he's seen one truckload come out of a rumbler, puddler, $400,000 worth. One
Yeah,
truckload.
that's true. That is
From here.
Yeah, from where we
From
stand
here.
in this area.
I know another patch here, 600,000 underneath him, top level. They got that in about 8 or 10 days. But
I also heard
and
stories.
nobody knows what the other fellas got this way in here. Nobody knows, and we never will.
That's right.
See, there was 2 or 3 mob claims there too, and they're all on a weeks and weeks. But it'll leak out eventually, you know. That's it. But back here, see, with the whole field, well, it broke there and made here. And it's funny how it does that, jumps.
Just come
Yeah.
in.
But which I said in the old days, you'd never think about with a pick and shovel to come and say, well, I'm going to sink old 20 feet and get over,
Well,
would
it's
you?
just too much
You
like
don't-
hard work.
You'd have to say, well, it'd have to be 60 feet to the level on a big ridge like this.
Mm.
But there you go, you don't know, it shot all up. That's how it happened.
Okay, maybe.
I feel I come now. Here's the winner. It's Richard Bayes of England.